Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, what a list of guest speakers we have had. I think it's fantastic, starting with Mr. Leif Pagrotsky and continuing with Hans-Dietrich Genscher and Roel Kosa and now Oren Lyons. I think it became everything that I hoped for. Your thoughts on the global social responsibility has been exquisite, and of course I shouldn't comment on these speeches, but thank you very much for your outstanding contributions. So in that row of closing speech, maybe I almost find myself here as a controller or something. Now I have to bring some profit into this as well. But imagine a world without electricity, a world without lamps, refrigerators, heaters, fans, computers. It's really unthinkable for us today. What it also means is that electrification, in that sense, stands for economic development, but also quality of life. Which means then to be able to work with electricity, energy, is maybe the most rewarding thing, because this is something that is really needed in the world. At the same time, it comes together with a fantastic amount of responsibility. So to be able to work with something really important is then a blessing. And one of my colleagues once said to me, I will always remember that, I'm very grateful that I work with something important. He said, I have a friend, and he's a salesman for Wrigley's chewing gum. That's something different. And I thought that was very nicely said. And we have to work on efficiency all the time, better solutions, work to a more sustainable world. So being an energy supplier is really a massive undertaking. And everything we do, and we at Vattenfall do, is related to taking on responsibilities. Customers, as well as the general public, they must be able to rely on what we are doing. We have to have confidence, and we have to have trust in what we are doing. As said before, energy supply, environmental matters, they are firmly and irrevocably linked to one another. The world energy companies are working on vast and important matters that must obviously be handled in a responsible manner. Conditions in different countries vary, although the ambition must always be the same. Good solutions at competitive prices. And what is competitive prices, you may ask yourself? Well, we should always strive to have true pricing. That is, the real cost must be transparent and visible, the full cost. I'll come back to that. As an energy company, we're always at the crossroads between two perspectives. The first one is a broad context in which the focus is on global issues and long time horizons. The greenhouse effect, it's a long time horizon. Responsible management of scarce resources, acceptance of responsibility for future generations. The second perspective, however, is local. That is, light, power, heat, as I said, stand for quality of life. And it's impossible with any sort of impact on nature. And it's here and now, it's local. So the real contribution to a sustainable development, they are built on balancing these two perspectives. The global, the local, the long and the short term, in a responsible way. This is by no means simple. It's extremely difficult. But we at Vattenfall, we take this responsibility very seriously, and it's part of our everyday life. We now have, and I think this is a moment today, 37,569 employees in a number of countries in Europe. And all of them are parts of the chain that must perform well in order for Vattenfall to deliver energy in a responsible manner. The operations of Vattenfall, they are based on a long-term environmental approach. It must be possible to meet today's need for energy, but without endangering the opportunities of future generations. And we are continuously taking determined steps in a direction towards more and more sustainable energy systems, while at the same time realizing that there are no simple solutions that could change everything in just a few years. Sustainability can only be built brick by brick or step by step. Long-term issues, they need long time to build solutions, which actually is a good thing. When we are working on long-term issues, we have more time. And global issues, because we are at global issues, they actually require global solutions. And I choose the word compassion. We have to care for each other, and we have to be able to communicate in global solutions. And if we look at the time perspective in our business, the energy business, the investment cycle is typically 30 to 40 years. Unfortunately, when we think of political time cycles, they are very often 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, because that's the time between elections. And so that there we have a mismatch. And when we think of global issues, like the greenhouse effect, it's more in the time horizon of 100 years. So I think we need to be able to use the time element very wisely in order to design solutions which in themselves are sustainable and not disruptive. Because if we engage in disruptive solutions, we will destroy more than we actually solve. One of the things which is very important is to invest determined work in research and development. That creates new freedom of choice for customers and the society. And our contribution must be to contribute to expanding this freedom. We have to create the freedom to select the sustainable future. And we must have patience then, because these changes take time. That vast investment programs can't be done overnight. They must be implemented, and new solutions involve expenditure. And we must also have respect for the fact that there is a random element in there. That is, technological breakthrough cannot be done by command, whether it's Einstein or somebody else. It's a lot of determined work, but precisely when we have a breakthrough, it's not able to plan. We are not able to plan that. If we then move again to the market, the deregulated market, the decisive factor on that market is actually the customer and the customer's willingness to pay. Because by decisions every day the customer is making, the customer is forming the future. At the same time, deregulation opens up for new solutions. They can be tested on the market, and the market forces leads to a new, leaner future, more efficient solutions. And open markets do not allow gold plating or over-investments. Open markets releases innovative solutions for problems, such as providing in our business reserve capacity as cost efficient as possible. And in fact, I would state that the deregulated markets require less resources than the old monopolies. The old monopolies could use all the resources they wanted. And actually today we conserve resources in the deregulated markets. If markets shall be able to promote contribution to sustainability, all forms of energy should pay their full costs. That's what I said before. That is, cost for externalities should also be paid by the users to get the true cost picture. Of course, there is a lot of methodological problems, and the devil is in the detail that need to be solved. But that is not blocking a stepwise development in that direction. So we have two very, I would say, striking examples so far reaching inclusion of external costs in the Swedish energy supply chain, which is nuclear and hydropower, where I think we come very far in actually seeing the full and true cost. But working on big issues in a long-term perspective is not sufficient in itself. Efficiency, good economy, taking on responsibility are constant elements in everything we do, including our day-to-day work for customers. And our ambition is, of course, to solve the problems of our customers. As Mr. Pagrotsky mentioned, last year the Swedish government took on the initiative in Swedish Globalt Ansvar, the Swedish Partnership for Global Responsibility. And we take proudly part of that as one of 9 Swedish-based companies at the time. By participating, Vattenfall has undertaken, of course, to support and respect the UN Global Compact initiative and to follow all the OECD guidelines for multinational companies. And for us, this offers a useful platform for setting up our responsibility program. And Raoul has been talking about the Global Compact as well, so you know most about it. For us, then, we see 3 areas. One, to be a positive force in society. That is wide-ranging, of course. For us, this means active promotion of efficient, environmentally appropriate energy supply in countries in which the company is established, tailored to local conditions. Also working resolutely and with a long-term horizon on developing new technology aimed at contributing towards freedom of choice in tomorrow's energy supply. And thirdly, contributing toward changing the situation for the 1/3 of the world population that has no access to electricity. So what concrete actions are we taking? Vattenfall supports various types of activities in the communities in which we operate. Let me give you a few examples. We support art. We've been supporting classical concerts in Poland. We support the Royal Opera in Stockholm and the Modern Museum of Art in Helsinki. We're also a keen supporter or sponsor of sporting activities. Everything from the Swedish national ski teams, cycling in Hamburg, the Berlin Marathon, Finnish Athlete Association program for the young people, so on. We want to contribute towards creating faith in the future and firm action. Therefore, we, for instance, promote Livslust, Zest for Life, a program in Latvia with 40 young people at present. And we have a vast number of projects in renewable energies in most of our countries. As I mentioned before, we also very deeply are involved in the conflicts when the interest of society clashes with the few, like in the open cast mining in the Lausitz region in Germany, where we take on quite a lot of responsibility. We're also a main sponsor of the Nordic Ark, where we are supporting the work of saving and protection of threatened species of animals. And last, let me also mention that because I think that's a nice example. We are sponsoring a child circus in Berlin. The second area is to have a clear and open attitude to ethics. Ethics basically involves dealing with issues in which the answers are simply only in exceptional cases that the answers are difficult to find. Otherwise, we didn't have a problem. When working on energy supply and infrastructure, as Vattenfall does, we are continually faced with conflicts of interest. Our ambition is to highlight the way we handle these matters in a dialogue with the world around us. At the same time, it is important to clarify the fact that the fundamental decisions concerning energy supply are taken by political bodies in open and democratic societies. Vattenfall, as one action, has joined the Academy for Ethics at Work as one of 7 trustees, and is thus included in a platform aimed at improving awareness of leadership, business, and organizational ethics in society. The work of the Academy is based on a humanistic view of organization and of the human being, ethics, and emphasize the individual responsibility for the common good, and a method of creating insight and development by dialogue. Competence is developed in cooperation between researchers and practitioners, commerce, industry, and working life in a broader sense. Our third area, then, is to report clearly on important aspects of our operation. Mutual acceptance, understanding are vitally important in creating confidence and trust. Vattenfall is determined to give the clearest possible information on our operation. We will be intensifying our efforts to broaden our reporting on environmental matters and social issues. At our last annual general meeting on April the 10th this spring, we launched a new responsibilities link on our international website. This is where we describe how we view our responsibilities, where we publish concrete examples, what actions we are taking, and where we comment on matters of current interest. Later this year, we shall be publishing a report named Our Responsibilities. Vattenfall is aiming at being a leading European energy company. That is, Vattenfall has high ambitions. In a Swedish perspective, Vattenfall is by far the biggest utility, but in a European perspective, we are competing with much bigger companies. Of course, we will not be able to outspend our competitors, but we can try to be a little smarter. So to be among the leading energy companies in Europe, we simply have to be the best. We have to be number one. And we have defined that as being number one for the environment, being number one for the customer, and being number one for the economy. These are our 3 perspectives. One important step on our road to excellence is our company philosophy formulated this spring. Our philosophy is based on a broad survey in all parts of Vattenfall, in Finland, Germany, Poland, Sweden, and so on. And in that company philosophy, we have also defined our 3 core values: effectiveness, openness, and accountability. And what we mean with that is, of course, a lot of things. But for example, to be striving for effectiveness in everything we do and in every part of our organization is important to us at Vattenfall. Because being effective means, for example, sound and rational handling of resources. Openness to us means dialogue, cooperation. It means listening and being receptive to signals from others, respect others. Of course, it also means that we should be open in expressing our own thoughts and feelings. Accountability, a good English word with not a good translation actually, neither to Swedish nor to German, means, for example, standing up for your work, acting proactively and respectfully towards others. It's built on trust. The best way to show trust is by delegating responsibility and the power to act. And, of course, responsibility to report. By constantly applying our company philosophy in all we do, we will step by step reach our vision to be a leading European energy company. So we are developing our skills to be able to leap over hurdles growing higher and higher. Our ambition to be number one for the customer, we take numerous initiatives. But today I'm happy to announce yet another initiative where we will then, in Sweden, to the Swedish customers, we will be guaranteeing the implementation of change of supplier. So if somebody would like to change supplier from Vattenfall to one of our competitors, we will guarantee that that will be completed within 1 calendar month. If not, irrespective of the reason, we will pay the customer 300 Swedish crowns. We do this voluntarily, of course, to be able to show that we take the customer seriously, and we would like to send a signal also internally that we should be effective, we should be open, and we should take responsibility. We've also taken a big program to roll out new intelligent, remotely controlled meters, thereby enabling better service to our 900,000 distribution customers in Sweden. We will also launch a new competitive offer to our customers in May and June, where everybody will be able to buy electricity from us at a fixed price of 31 Swedish öre per kilowatt hour, excluding taxes and VAT in a 3-year deal. So it's open to everyone. So I hope that afterwards we will be able to take your orders, as I think this is an extremely competitive offer at the moment. In our ambition to be number one for the environment and the economy, we are devoting determined work to clean coal, which involves separating and storing carbon dioxide. Over a period of 3 years, we will now be investing 100 million Swedish crowns, about 11 million euros or $12 million, in a comprehensive project in which we are cooperating with a number of other parties to create the conditions for lower carbon dioxide emissions to the atmosphere. The aim these 3 years is to analyze the feasibility of the technology and hopefully thereafter be able to demonstrate the technology in a demonstration plant. We have also recently joined as a partner in the Alliance for Global Sustainability, supporting the cooperation also by 4 well-reputed universities of technology, the MIT in Cambridge, USA, the Chalmers University in Gothenburg, Sweden, ETH in Zurich, Switzerland, and the Tokyo University in Japan. I also said that being number one for the environment, the customer, economy, you can sum that up as being number one for society. There we have numerous examples as well. Our organization for the very big energy-intensive industry, which is called our mega business unit. They are responsible for that. Of course, one of their primary drives is to provide customized electricity contracts, but also to develop and deliver energy solutions that provides energy savings, more efficient use of the energy, which incidentally then mean that we will be able to sell less to them. But we believe that they being competitive, they will invest more, and in due course we will be able to also benefit from that. So when we provide energy solutions, we assume, of course, then also responsibility for their needs in their facilities. The environment, the customer, and the economy at large, all three will thereby be gaining at the same time. There is also a good citizen dimension of being number one for society. Energy in that sense must be viewed in a global perspective. Energy supply is a decisive issue to developing countries. Of course, my own involvement is reflected, for instance, by my membership of the board of directors at ESCOM, which I think is a very honorable position, and thank you, Rolf, for that. The biggest power utility, as we heard, in Africa, and one of the biggest in the world. Together with Mr. Kosa, the chairman of ESCOM, I yesterday signed a letter of intent on the development of a joint exchange program. Among other things, we are going to explore the possibility to develop an electrification program in Africa, supporting education and local development. This we consider to be very important, of course, to be able to bring electricity to the ones who have not. As this is developed, this is clearly linked also to development of the society in general. So, dear friends, the time has now come to an end for the formal part of this 20th Vattenfallsymposium. So let me thank you all for your keen interest and active participation. A very special thanks to our moderator, Ulf Wickbom, so successfully have guided us through this intensive and, at least for me, very, very interesting afternoon. So let's give Ulf a hand.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also think that we should put the light actually on Annette and ask her to come down here, because if I'm not wrong, I think you have personalized 20 years of Vattenfall Symposium.